Our theme this month is expansion. And my topic today is expand into your greater yet to be. Expand into your greater yet to be. That concept of your greater yet to be. That phrase comes up often in my spirit language. Those downloads that I get. When we think of expansion, we're typically thinking of addition. We're typically thinking of like adding on, so to speak. But I want to speak specifically today about what it means to expand into your greater yet to be. Expanding into your greater to be is not adding on to who you are now. It's transforming away from who you are now. Let me make that clear. Expansion is not adding on to who you are now. Expansion is transforming out of who you are now. Matter is neither created nor destroyed, it only changes form. Matter is neither created nor destroyed, it only changes form. Matter is energy in form. It's energy in form. They are not separate things. I grew up in a tradition that didn't teach me that. I grew up in a tradition that taught me that there was matter, that there was like a material world that somehow existed outside of consciousness, that there was really stuff here, and this stuff here was real. And not only was this stuff real, you had to struggle with it. You had to fight against it, and it had its own, like, whatever, but you couldn't change facts per se. You couldn't, like, just change the stuff because it was real. But yet, they're the most praying folks that you ever wanted to see in the world, who would never accept any condition as the last word. So even though the theology and the philosophy didn't spell it out quite the way that we do in, New Thought or more, progressive universal spirituality of this mind-body connection, understanding that everything that we see in form is energy, they knew it in their hearts and acted that way. They acted that way. But we weren't taught that. But we acted that way. Not to be afraid of any condition or circumstance because there was a power that could do something about it. That there was a power that creates everything. Now, where some of these dividing lines were, is that in my tradition, there were basically two gods. Even though we said there was only one God, there were two. There was a devil. And this devil had power. And this devil could create things. And this devil could make things happen. And there were some things in the world that were of the devil. And that there were some things in the world that were of God. And you were being put in this position of being pulled back between these two. I'm surprised I'm going here, but I'm just going with what I'm being told. Jesus wasn't a Christian. Jesus was a Jew. Christianity didn't start till another century after he was gone, with the Greek Orthodox Church. That was the first Christian church. The second Christian church was the Roman Catholic Church. The Greeks converted the Romans to Catholicism. Now, the reason why this is important is that the Greeks and the Romans had very similar ideologies and mythologies. Greek mythology, Roman mythology, very, very similar. And in the Greek mythology and the Roman mythology, there were warring gods. And the way that these gods knew their power was by how much they could tempt and test human beings. And they would duke it out with each other, trying to control a human being. Kind of like pawns on a chessboard. So like moving them around. These gods were also composites. They were part whatever, part God, part horse, part God, part man, which is why the notion of the virgin birth, as it's taught in Christianity, and I'm not making a commentary like true, not true, but I'm saying that concept, the Jews were like, yeah, right. Oh yeah, Mary's a virgin. But for Roman Greco mythology, that made a lot of sense. Because they had this theology where you could have something that was part God, part man, made a lot of sense to them. The long and short of this is that Christianity got way far from its Judaic roots and picked up a lot of what we would call the pagan or the more mythological aspects that were ruling Greek and Roman mythology. The Middle East is where Jerusalem is. That's where Israel was. That's where Jesus was. But Christianity got started, really got started with the Roman Catholic Church in Italy. Halfway around the world with completely different traditions. Completely different traditions. And the Greeks were known as the fathers of Western thought. So you have the Hebrews that are about miracles. They're about mysticism. They are about dreams. They are about visions. Most of the Bible is stories about stories. It's stories about visions. It's things that people see. It's about prophecy. That's not Western thinking. Western thinking is very rational. It's very logical. The mysticism got gutted out, is what I'm saying. And whereas in the Hebrew tradition, every male, by the time he was 13, had to prove his scholarship in Hebrew text at his bar mitzvah. The Roman Catholic Church, for 1,000 years, wouldn't let the common people read the Bible. 1,000 years. From when they started in 300 AD to 1300 AD, nobody but a priest could even read it. So imagine this now. You go from a culture and a tradition where it's your daily everything. You're arguing about it. You're talking about it. You're reading it. You're sharing it. You are thinking. You are growing. This idea of like, it says this. There's no such thing. The language itself in Hebrew is meant to be open-ended. It's meant for you to keep thinking. So there's continuous commentary about it. It's got like hieroglyphics, where it's pictorial. The alphabet has meaning. It isn't just individual words. So there's like this richness that's there. I'm not trying to elevate one over the other. But what I am trying to say is that the world view that we have has been influenced by cultural stuff, and we've got to decolonize our minds. That the impact of the Roman Empire and its way of looking at spirituality has shackled us. Because he systemically went in all over the world in any indigenous cultures, anything that put you in direct contact with the divine, anything that got you understanding that you were one with the divine, got cut out to make you dependent upon the institution, to make you subservient to the institutions. That same consciousness in the way we have a whole corporate capitalistic structure that's meant to make the worker subservient to the company, the corporation. Decolonize your mind. You got to go back to the beginning. Back to the beginning. Back to this beginning with this understanding of the oneness of everything. Of understanding that God is in everything. It's not just God made the tree is God. See, it's not just that God made the planet and left it. God's in the planet. It's not just that God made people. People are God in the flesh. Yeah. That first place of stepping into our greater yet to be is know who you are. Know what you are. This expansion isn't just taking this limited idea about I'm this little entity in the world that everything is happening to, and let me expand that. Let me supersize my little entity. That's expansion, yes, but it's not your greater yet to be. What do you want? Do you want to be more of what you think you are? Or do you want to be who you're brought on this earth to be? What do you want? Do you want to map it all out? Try to control the universe to just bring you what you want? Or are you willing to step into the great mystery of life? With these theological constructs that I was raised with, there was this idea of a hell, like an end run. And it honestly never made any sense to me. Why something so great and magnificent and something as timeless as the universe and how short a little incarnation is. 5 years, 7 years, 9 years, 90 years. But within the scheme of all, like how short that is. And that there would be a God that would infuse us with its essence and then cast us into some place for all eternity to suffer. Not my God. I don't know which God you got. But not my God. And I remember when it clicked for me. When I really started to study the mythology, what became God, the Christian God, was Zeus. They had all kinds of gods. There's Poseidon of the ocean and the water. But the one that won out for the Christian image was Zeus, the sky god, with the long beard and boom, throwing down the lightning bolts. This god to fear. And this devil, Lucifer character, if you look through the mythology, Lucifer was an angel. Listen to what I'm saying. Lucifer wasn't created out of some other energy. There wasn't a warring energy that even this thing that we are attributing to causing all of the hell on earth and hell, Lucifer was an angel in heaven with everybody else. Lucifer thought he could make it on his own. Thought he didn't need God. Didn't think he was part of the whole, for which he got cast out. And I am telling you now, the moment you try to stop being part of the whole, the moment that you stop believing that you are part of the divine, you are cast out of heaven and you become intimately familiar with a place called hell right here on earth. It's not a different energy. Anything that you see of as evil in the world comes out of human consciousness. You can't find evil in nature. Evil's not in the forest. It's not in the valley. It's not up in the stars. Evil is what people do when they're acting like Lucifer. Evil is what people do when they forget that they are one with the whole. Evil is what people do when they forget that everybody else is one with the whole. Evil is what people do when they don't realize that they are part of the divine, when they don't realize that we are all brothers and sisters and that we are all part of this earth. We sang that beautiful song, yes, and it has so many different meanings to me. And I know when I was in the Amazon or the rainforest with the shaman and going through all of their different rituals, and I really got it. And I really got it, and that song started singing through me, there is more that is required of me. And I remember it was in that Amazon that I really just viscerally, this was I guess in 2011, just viscerally got that we are from the earth. Adam is really Adam. From the Adamah, the earth. Adam literally means reddish color. It literally means earth. Adam is earth being. Earth being. Are you with me? And what I know here, and what I really understood in that Amazon, is that there is no away. There's no away that this wonderful earth, everything is coming out of her and we put everything back into her. She transforms it. The waste, the feces, the everything. You get what I'm saying? It's this whole system that births and takes it back. And transforms it, and births and takes it back. And that's what God does with us. Just like there's no hell, like there's no place we can take all of our garbage and all of our trash and put it in some hell where it gets cast away like forever over there. There's no over there. The universe isn't trying to cast you away over there. The universe is being just like Pachamama Earth. Come back to me. Come back to me. I will restore. I will redeem. I will reclaim you. The universe doesn't want to harm you and get rid of you. The universe wants to clean you up. The universe wants to restore you. There is nothing in our ecosystem that is not designed for healing and restoration. And if human beings just got out of the way and cooperated with nature, we'd see that. This expanding into our greater yet to be means we got to get with the program. We got to quit trying to dominate people, places, and things. We got to stop trying to dominate nature and be one with it. You'll never know your greater yet to be until you become a part of the whole. There is nothing out there against you. There's nothing out there trying to get me. I'm not saying there's not consciousness. I'm not saying there's not stuff going on. You know, there's white supremacy, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying there's nothing going on. But what I'm saying, it's not an isness. It's not an isness. They're thought forms. They're like balloons that we blow up and keep putting more and more air into it with this little thin membrane that we just need to pop. It's like the car is full of these balloons and we can't even move around because it's got all these balloons. But it ain't nothing but a bunch of hot air with a thin veneer on it. We just need to pop it. And that's how it is in your life. That's how it is in society. That we think that we're crowded out by all this. I almost said it. Stop. That's going on. It's just a bunch of hot air. And it's our hot air. That Adam that comes up from the earth becomes animated when the breath of life is breathed into it. Spirit literally means breath. Breath, spirit. Breath, spirit. What do you do with your breath? Whatever you do with your breath, you are breathing the spirit of life into it. Think about that. The word, the most power you will ever have, is what comes out of your mouth. The most power you will ever have is how you name things. Because it will be so for you that way. To expand into your greater yet to be, you gotta rename yourself. Breathe the breath of life into yourself with your own word. I love that song, Speak Over Yourself. Speak over yourself. And as you do, stuff is going to shatter. I'd like to tell you that it's a bed of roses, but it's not. There's much, as it says in Scripture, gnawing of gnashing of teeth. But on the other side of the process, if we think about human birth, for example, that's traumatic. That's some stuff. That is not easy. And can you imagine if women said, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. This is just too hard. We've got About 7 billion people on the planet right now. That's over 6 billion years of labor. Just right now. I ain't even talking about all through history, just right now on this planet. That is 6 billion years out of women's bodies. Let that sink in for a moment. I don't know why. I don't know what God had in mind by having something so big as a human being coming out of something so small. Honestly, out of everything in divine design, birth, live birth, I don't know. But that you that grows, it's like a live birth every time. So you've got this baby that's in the womb. And it's a nice little cushy thing going on in there. They ain't got to work, they got to do nothing, you're fed all the time, you take care of. But that moment of going into your greater yet to be means you've got to get out of the womb. See, our ideas and all of these goals and plans and the things that life is calling us to do and to be, it's like it's all happening within a womb. But there comes that moment when you gotta birth it. There comes that moment when you have to let it be. So those environments, those containers, whatever that's been, whether it's been your home, your relationships, your jobs, you know, I don't know. But it's going to shift and it's going to change. But I love that phrase that what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the butterfly calls it but the beginning. And that's how it is with us. We're in this continuous metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly. But we got to get rid of the colonialistic thinking of being punished for something. Or we've been bad because this is shifting or this is changing. Or life is doing something to me because I don't get to hold on to this stuff that's been so comfy and cushy. No, this is just life. The seed that clings to being a seed will never fulfill its great purpose in life. To reach your greater yet to be, at some time, you gotta stop being a seed. Now, I don't know what the seed feels like being cracked open. I don't know. I don't know what the earth feels like being cultivated, churned, chopped up, because that's what's happening in your mind and your inner being. You got to become fertile soil. You can't just drop stuff. You got to make room for it. You got to make room for it. But what I do know is if you're in the flow of life, it isn't that you ignore the pain. You have the capacity to hold the bow. When that new baby is in the mother's arms, she's still hurting. But she's not pissed off at the baby. Now, she may be pissed off at the man, but I'm just saying. But there's something that happens. You know, there's something that happens where you go, it's worth it. Wasn't pretty, wasn't fun, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And that's how it is with you in your life. There's nothing out there that's trying to get you. There are trials and tests and all that, but that's to cultivate you. That's to bring you up. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. It's happening for you to be able to grow. This is how life works. The little chick is in the egg. And he keeps growing and growing. And once he eats all the little nutrients that are all on the inside of the shell, it's too cramped in there. And the chick has to break out himself. If you help the chick out, it's going to die. Because it needs the strength of what it took to break out of the shell to live. This expansion into your greater yet to be. Don't judge by the appearance. Don't judge about the process of what it's going to take to get from here to there. Just know that on the other side is something greater and more magnificent than you will ever know. No, you might not be a caterpillar anymore. And when you get in that cocoon, we become goo. Goo's not fun. But I've coined the phrase, goo is good. It's where everything just seems to melt down. But in the DNA of the caterpillar is what's next. Do you feel that? Within the little seed, within the little acorn, encoded in there is the whole tree. It's not going, oh, where am I going to get the tree from? Where's the tree going to come from? From this little acorn. How am I ever going to be an oak tree? It's in you. Just like the embryo becomes the fetus, becomes the baby. That's you. Like you're this little seed. It's already in you. Don't worry about where it's going to come from, or how you're going to get it, or who else has what, or what little stage yours is in. It might be the seed, it might be the sprout, it might be the root, it might be the blossom, but it's all there. It's all there, and it's you. Are you willing to expand into your greater yet to be? Yes. Are you willing to let go of what you are now to be who you're meant to be?
Yes.
I'm going to end on this. In my spirit letters, it says when you are transformed, you can no longer be recognized for who you used to be. Just listen to that. You are no longer recognized. You don't just see something that's changed or improved. You don't see what was there before. When I brought Caleb Happy up here, Caleb up here, and he was telling his story yesterday. He became a practitioner on the inside with us. But when you look at Caleb and the work that he's doing, he's so transformed. You don't see that. If nobody told you that, you'd never know. And are you willing to do that? Are you willing to no longer be recognized for who you used to be? I'm going to end on this. when I was doing my great, great surrender, about letting go to be a minister, and it started to, like, my life was falling apart. I was dark, dark, dark out of the soul. And there was a old black spiritual that I used to sing. And this is very vulnerable, but I'm going to take you into my living room, my bedroom. And I think I'm just going to let this be a prayer. I told Jesus that it would be all right if he changed my name. I told Jesus that it would be all right if he changed my name. I told Jesus it would be all right if he changed my name. I told Jesus that it would be all right, be all right, be all right. And I told Jesus that it would be all right if he changed my name. He said, your mother, she won't know the child if I change your name. Said your father, he won't know your child if I change your name. But I told Jesus that it would be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. And I told Jesus that it would be all right if you change my name. In the Bible, change of name is always a change of character. Simon becomes Peter. Saul becomes Paul. All these different things come from God. I know you know something. I told you. You know? Let's let that sit. As we turn, we know that there is something that's perfect. We're going to do yes. We're going to do the chorus part. Yeah. You come and we do it right from where you are. We started off this morning with the song, Yes. And we're just going to sing that word. Just the harmony, yes. Build this place up. Yes. And see, you don't have to know where you're going to know you're headed in the right direction. See, we want the whole picture before we say yes, but it's the other way around. When you say yes, then you're shown. Because if you were shown ahead of time, you wouldn't say yes. And the less resistance you have, the more you're allowed to see. But when your yes is conditional, I won't say yes till I know, you won't be able to see. Yes. Let's just say yes. Every one of us has that place. There's something that's tugging at us. We keep looking for answers and keep saying, but not that answer. Not that one. Can you give me another answer? Not that one. Trust that the river knows where it's going. So each of us in our own way in this moment. Let's put a little pinky tuck to the water. Some of us are wading up to our knees. Some at the waist. There comes that moment. And you're buoyed up and lifted up because there's nothing out there that wants to hurt you. God just wants to be more through you and to use all of it, all the hurts, all the pains, all the mistakes, all the abuse, all the addictions, anything and everything that's ever happened, it just gets recycled. transmuted, transformed, matters neither created nor destroyed, it only transformed. God doesn't want to get rid of you. God doesn't want to get rid of your stuff. God wants to use it for something else. It's so much better. To this, we surrender. And in the name of everything that is holy, we pray. And simply allow it to be so.